It's 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. The school's calling, your stomach drops. What comes next could change everything.
I need to have a chat to you about an incident today that your child was involved in. It could be your son was involved in bullying today, or your daughter actually plagiarised and not my kid. He wouldn't hurt a fly. She's an angel at home. You must have got the wrong kid. Are you sure? This is what we call the good kid myth in the teacher business. Sometimes your child is a chameleon. They can be an angel at the dinner table and a completely different person in the playground. When parents refuse to see that and acknowledge that, when they fight the school instead of listening, they aren't protecting their child. They're actually preventing them from learning an important lesson. And that lesson is accountability. But even when I explain this chameleon effect, I still sometimes get parents who can be fighting the truth. No matter how tall they are or how deep their voice is, this is what schools know. That is still your baby. The thought that your little baby boy or baby girl could be the one causing pain to someone else is a jagged pill to swallow. The parents who get the best outcomes for their kids are the ones who don't fight me, who don't fight the school, who don't fight the system. I'm telling you this because I care about your child and I want them to succeed, but I can't do it if we're not on the same team.
Ready to transform how you handle the next school call? Watch the full episode.
Hello and welcome back to Talking Teens Official. I'm Narelle and thank you for joining me and for your listening ears. Today we're going to have a chat about the phone call no parent wants to receive. It's 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. You're at work or you're actually just busy doing your daily chores and you see the school's phone number pop up on your phone when it's ringing. Your stomach drops, but you answer it, expecting to hear that your child is sick or maybe they forgot their lunch. But instead, you hear the year level coordinator, someone like me, calling you. And on the line it says, "Hello, Mr. or Mrs. Smith. It's Narelle calling here from such and such high school. Just want to let you know that everything's okay with your kid, nothing to worry about, but I do need to have a chat to you for a minute. Is now a good time?" And that's how I normally open the conversation. But the next line could be something along the lines of, "I need to have a chat to you about an incident today that your child was involved in." It could be your son was involved in bullying today, or your daughter actually plagiarised an assignment. So I need to have a chat to you about that. And in that split second, your brain just fills and your body just fills with all these hormones and you don't want to believe it. You just reject it. You feel this visceral defensive wall go up and you think, no way, not my kid. He wouldn't hurt a fly. She's an angel at home. You must have got the wrong kid. Are you sure? This is what we call the good kid myth in the teacher business. It's a belief that because our children are really good to us, they must be good everywhere. But here's the truth from the staff room. Sometimes your child is a chameleon. They can be an angel at the dinner table and a completely different person in the playground. And when parents refuse to see that or don't want to see that and acknowledge that, when they fight the school instead of listening, they aren't protecting their child. They're actually preventing them from learning an important lesson. And that lesson is accountability. So today we're going to explore why good kids do bad things and how to handle that phone call without going to war with the messenger, i.e. the school. And it's really funny because I pose this question in my school community. I pose the question, when you get a phone call from the school, or have you ever received a phone call from school, and what was it about and what happened? The conversations going in there are actually really interesting. So if you wanted to join in on that conversation, you'll have to come in and join the Talking Teens Official school community. All right, let's get back on track though. So let's say you've had the phone call. You've had that reaction of, not my child. But once the initial shock wears off, we have to look at the reality. And the reality is that teenagers sometimes are the masters of disguise. They are masters of the chameleon effect. They can be an angel at the dinner table. They can be respectful at home. They can be kind. They can be helpful. And they can not demonstrate those things to exactly the same level that they do at home in the classroom, depending on the teachers or the kids around them. Now, as a parent, your first instinct is to think they're faking it with you, that they're lying, but actually it's usually about survival. So a lot of the times when they are an angel at home and they're not an angel at school, there's normally a few reasons why this can happen. First of all, it can be about a status symbol, because sometimes it doesn't give you enough street credibility if you aren't being too kind, too submissive in school and things like that. So sometimes being tough or mean can be the price of admission to the cool group. And I just want to say that that really depends on schools and the cultures in schools, and it's not the same everywhere. The second thing there, or the second reason why they could be an angel at home and a little bit of the opposite at school, is that sometimes home is their safe harbour. They hold it together all day at school. They're masking their stress, or they're just having issues or anxiety about all their schoolwork, and then they can explode at home because they know that you will love them anyway and it's fine. They can let their guard down there. So sometimes that can go in the opposite direction. And the third thing, it could be a little bit about pressure, because sometimes the pressure to be the good kid at home is so high that sometimes school is the only place that they can rebel. And if they are going to rebel and if they are going to make those mistakes, I'll be completely honest with you, school is the safest place to do it, because they're all underage, they're all minors. If they do something wrong, we deal with it and we say to them, it's not how we behave out in society. You do that as an adult, you're in trouble with the law type thing. So if they are going to do it, school is a safe place, but it's not exactly what we need, because we need to keep everyone safe. But even when I explain this chameleon effect, I still sometimes get parents who can be fighting the truth. They can be arguing with me or with the school about any sort of evidence, and they will be demanding evidence or proof that their kid is the bully, their kid sent the email, their kid sent the screenshot, their kid sent the image, and they refuse to believe it. But I get it. Because no matter how tall they are or how deep their voice is, this is what schools know. That is still your baby. You remember holding them when they were 2. You remember their innocence, and the thought that your little baby boy or baby girl could be the one causing pain to someone else is a jagged pill to swallow. It triggers a deep sense of grief, and you aren't just fighting the school. You are fighting the loss of an image of a child that you actually held so closely. Sometimes it's not even grief. I've had this many times before. It's exhaustion. Sometimes when there's a child at school who's been completely difficult, a parent has come in and said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. You deal with it. I don't want these phone calls anymore. Can you please just help? And that is not a bad parent. That is a burnt out parent who has run out of tools and options to help their child who might be acting up at school. And they're my favourite ones. But here's the hard truth. If you let your exhaustion or your grief stop you from seeing that your child is doing those behaviours at school, you're actually leaving them stranded. You're leaving them stuck in that mud with nobody to help pull them out. So if you're in a meeting because you have received that phone call and you're feeling defensive or you're feeling really defeated, how do you turn that around? As a teacher, I can tell you that the parents who get the best outcomes for their kids are the ones who don't fight me, who don't fight the school, who don't fight the system, and they aren't the ones who check out. They're the ones who realise that if there's a crack between home and school, their kid will probably find a way to wedge it open. Because sometimes you give them an inch and they take a mile, as we all know. Teenagers can be like water. If they see that you don't trust the school or the teacher, they will play us off against each other. Or if you're not on our side, they will tell you I'm picking on them. They will tell you I'm unfair. And while we are busy arguing about the he said, she said, they're getting away with the behaviour. The only way to fix this is to close the gap. When I sit with a parent who is struggling, I always say to them, I'm not telling you this to judge you. I'm not telling you this because I need you to fix everything and stop it. I'm telling you this because I care about your child like you do, and I want them to succeed, but I can't do it if we're not on the same team. So my advice to you is simple. Drop the defense. You don't need to defend your parenting. We are not grading you. We are just trying to help your child navigate a messy moment and help them learn how to be human. But we need you on our side for that. So you leave the meeting, you have the evidence, you know the truth. Now you have to go home and talk to your kid, because there would have been consequences put in place at the school or things that might have triggered off other scenarios. And this is where sometimes it can get a bit tricky as a parent, because you'll go home and you'll say to the kid, especially if they weren't in that meeting, did you do this? Do not ask that question. If you ask a teenager, did you do it? Their survival instinct will kick in and they will lie to you. They will go, no, the teacher's got it wrong. Maybe, I don't remember, but it wasn't that bad. Like, I was joking. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then you are back to arguing about facts instead of dealing with the behaviour. So instead, present a united front, but with the school. You sit them down and you say to them, I spoke to the school today. I know what happened. I've seen the screenshots. And then you pause and you let that sink in, and you don't let them wiggle out of it. You just let them know that you spoke to the school. They told me what happened. I've seen the screenshots or the evidence. Now talk to me. All you need to say is, we're not going to pretend that this didn't happen. I love you. And we are going to try and fix this and make things better again. This shifts the energy completely. It tells your child that the mask doesn't work anymore. It tells them that they are safe enough to be caught in a supportive environment, which is the school and which is the home. And they are loved enough to be held accountable, but not face any dire consequences or loss of attachment and sentiment and love from you. Because the biggest gift you can give your child isn't the belief that they are perfect. It's the knowledge that they can make their mistakes, own it, and recover from it. So let's bring it together in true teacher style. I'll recap. We started with the phone call that can just make your stomach sink when you see the school's phone number there. I've spoken to you very quickly about the fact that there is this good kid myth sometimes with parents, where your kid might be an angel at home, but not so much an angel at school. And I just, sometimes it goes the other way. Sometimes we can have a terrible kid at home and they're beautiful at school. It can go completely the other direction as well. And sometimes we can have parents who have done absolutely everything correctly. They are the most beautiful, loving, supportive home of all, but their child can be a little bit of a terror at school. And we all sit there scratching our heads going, what the hell has happened with this one? But it doesn't mean they are fake. It just means they are figuring out who they are. Remember, they are learning how to be human. We also talked about the grief, about losing that innocent image of your child and the exhaustion of fighting the truth. And finally, I talked about this thing about a united front, where we need parents and schools to actually work together. The moment you stop fighting the school is the moment you close the gap that your teenager is slipping through. So please pay a little bit of attention to those phone calls and that feedback from their teachers, which is coming to you. And then I want to leave you with one final thought about actually what happens the next day or after the fact. Once you have been given that information and the mask is off, if you like, and you know your angel is capable of sometimes not being an angel as much, it can be hard to look at them again without suspicion. You might feel like you don't know who they are anymore because they've done something that has completely shocked you or surprised you. But here's the beautiful part. This myth, it was a myth. It was a pressure cooker. Now that the myth is gone, you can actually work with the real kid that was sitting there. So something must have been boiling under the surface. And remember what I always say, I try to look at these things with a lens over my eyes when I was dealing with these kids. What are they trying to gain, or what are they trying to avoid? Just keep that in your head. You can love them even though they make mistakes. You can love them when they get scared. You can love them when they act out, and you can guide them back. So take a breath, put down the shield, and help them understand that you are working together with the school. If this episode hit a nerve, or you're currently navigating the crisis of someone being a good kid at home but not so much at school, I just want to let you know you're not alone. If you want to talk about this in a judgment-free zone, that is exactly what my school community does. So just Google Talking Teens Official. It'll come up. Just follow the link to the school community and join. If you found real value in here, please consider buying me a coffee. Again, the links are in the show notes. Just to wrap things up a little bit, I'm just going to put this out there that I will be doing something that I have not done before due to popular demand, which is I will be offering a program for a very small select group of parents to work with me directly. So keep your eyes peeled on my socials, because that window will not be open for very long. And again, I'm going to keep the cohort really small, in between 5 or 10. Until next time, remember that focus. Connection over correction. I'm Narelle, and this is Talking Teens Official.